the March Madness preview, where we talk about some of the teams that are expected to make it out. And let's begin, because it's a very long list. So first we have the America East. The top seeds in the America East are Vermont, UMass Lowell, and Bryant. And the games are going to happen on March 9th, the 12th, and 16th. So Vermont could climb as high to the number 13 seed in the NCAA tournament if they win this. If they win in this midseason tournament. So the projected champions for this game are obviously going to be Vermont. The past 3 seasons, Vermont has lost a total of 3 American East games. So it's very difficult to pick against them. And they also lead the conference. So I believe that they have the best chance of representing. I believe Vermont has the best chance of representing the America East conference going into the NCAA tournament. And let's continue on with this list because it's a very long list. Now we have the Atlantic Sun Division, and the conference is ranked 26 out of 33rd. The top seeds are Eastern Kentucky, Stetson, and Lipscomb. And the Atlantic Suns, they could crack at the top, like the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They could, but it is the Atlantic Sun champion is a strong candidate for the 16th seed, really. So it's as wide open as it gets in this one. So it's really difficult to pick a champ on who's going to represent this conference. And the preseason favorite was Eastern Kentucky, but the Colonels entered the ASUN tournament on a 2-game losing streak, and it's a high score. The high-scoring Lipscomb is the only ASUN team to reach 20 wins, or crack the top 200. But the Bison, who's at the 3rd seed, they've played the whole season without Jacob Ognasevich. Forgive me if I messed up that last name. It's really difficult to pronounce. And they lost their leading scorer, Darren Boyd, with a torn ACL. So not entirely sure exactly if they're going to make it out. It's really difficult to decide. Next is the Big Sky Division. The top seeds are Eastern Washington, Northern Colorado, and Montana. The Big Sky tournament is projected to be, the winner of this tournament is projected to be the number 15th seed in the NCAA tournament. And honestly, a lot of people have faith in the 4th-seeded Weber State to emerge as the contenders. And it includes Eastern Washington, Montana, and Northern Colorado. In the preseason, the favorites were the Wildcats, and they beat St. Mary's, Yale, Wyoming in non-league play, and they've won 8 straight games. And the 10 midseason after they won 8 of the 10 games in a midseason slump. So it's really difficult again to choose which team is going to make it out of this one. I think it's obviously it's easy to choose the number 1 seed to make it out, but again anything can happen in March Madness. So I'm not entirely sure on which team is going to make it out of this one. Next is the Big South. The top 3 teams are High Point, UNC Asheville, and Gardner-Webb. So whoever wins the Big South, again, it's projected to be the number 15th seed. And it obviously depends on who wins the previous conference, which was the Big Sky Conference. So again, it all depends on which team ends up winning and making it out in the end. And everyone wants to see High Point versus UNC in the title game, and that would be a very nice matchup. And between those 2 teams, I think UNC has the best chance of making it out. I don't know why. It's just a feeling in my mind. And I expect another tight game with Pemmer leading Asheville to a win. And at High Point, I know they play at High Point, and they're going to make their 2nd straight Big South tournament. They're going to win their 2nd straight Big South tournament title, and hopefully they end up making it to the tournament. But that's my pick. Next is the Coastal Athletic Association. The top three teams in this conference are Charleston, Drexler, and Hofstra. Now, this team is projected to be the 14th seed. Well, whichever team comes out is projected to be the 14th seed going into the NCAA tournament. And it's really difficult to pick against Charleston. And they just came off of last year winning 31 games last season and another outright CAA regular season title. So the trio of juniors, Ante Brzovic, Ben Burnham, and Rain Smith, they've been the focal points of this team. They've been the big three, and they shoot a lot of three-pointers, and that has sort of carried the Cougars to 9 straight wins to end the regular season. So it's really difficult to pick against Charleston in this one, and I believe they're going to make it out of the Coastal Athletic Association. Now, next is the Horizon League. Now, the two teams that are, actually, no, the top three teams, pardon me, are Oakland, Youngstown State, and Green Bay. The Horizon Tournament champ, it's unlikely to they're unlikely to receive anything higher than a number 15th or a 14th seed in the NCAA tournament. So not entirely sure if they're going to be able to do much in the tournament other than just represent their conference. And only twice in the past decade has the Horizon League regular season champion won the conference tournament. So that trend is like, it might still be prevalent for Oakland, which was a surprise league winner. So I wouldn't be surprised if Youngstown State is able to make it out and represent their team in this division. However, I do think Trey Townsend is going to be a key player that would carry Oakland if Oakland ends up winning. Obviously, like I'm very superstitious. So with that in mind, like I really think that superstition is going to be much more prevalent in this league, in the Horizon League, than in any other league. But let's continue going down onto the list. We have the Missouri Valley, which is ranked 9th out of 33 in the conference, like in terms of conference rankings. The top three seeds are Indiana State, Drake, and Bradley. So this right here is Indiana State's chance to secure an auto bid and avoid leaving its fate in the hands of the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. So either the Sycamores win 3 games in 3 days, or they wait to see if they've done enough to secure a large bid in this tournament. So the projected champions of this one, like it's between Indiana State and Drake, and they came down to the final week of the regular season, and the Sycamores claimed the outright regular season title by a single game on Sunday when they beat Murray State. And honestly, like again, with how competitive this conference really is, it is very difficult to decide which team is going to end up making it out. But I have faith in Bradley. I have no idea why. Like it's just a feeling that I've got. I think Bradley is going to represent this team. Now, next we move into the Northeastern Conference. So this is one of the worst conferences, but it doesn't matter. The top seeds are Central Connecticut State, Merrimack, and Sacred Heart. So the winner of the NEC tournament is projected to be the number 16 seed, and they'll have a chance to pull off what Dickinson did a year ago, and Purdue wants no part of that for whoever comes out of that tournament. Let's go Jersey, am I right? So only a year ago, Merrimack won the NEC tournament after being like in Division I like for the first time. But it was ineligible to receive an NCAA bid because, like, again, they've only been Division I for literally 1 year. So this year, if the Warriors go back-to-back, they'll also get to participate in March Madness, and they'll represent their team in this Northeastern Conference. So I have high faith in Merrimack, given how they've won the conference last year. Now, the next conference is the Ohio Valley Conference. So the top 3 teams in this conference are Arkansas Little Rock, Tennessee Martin, and Morehead State. So the winner of the Ohio Valley Conference is projected to be no higher than the number 15 seed in the tournament. So Morehead State was a heavy favorite before a 3-game mid-February losing streak, and dropped the Eagles into a 3-way tie for first place. And they shared the OVC regular season title with Arkansas and Tennessee, but settled for the number 3 seed in the conference tournament. So with that in mind, this one is going to be probably the most difficult to decide, given how the 1 through 3 are tied. But the road that the Eagles take for the NCAA tournament is now a little tougher than it appeared to be a few weeks ago, given how they dropped. But they still have a shot. They definitely still have a chance. So next we have the Patriot League, another one of the bad conferences, but again, it doesn't really matter. The top seeds are Colgate, Boston University, and Lafayette. Colgate projects to be a number 15 seed in the NCAA tournament if it claims the Patriots League automatic bid. Any other champion that comes out of this tournament is most likely going to receive a number 16 seed and would be lucky to needing to avoid a play-in game. So there is more overwhelming favorite, like conference tournament. There is not much of an overwhelming favorite in this tournament than Colgate. And the Red Raiders went 16-2 in the league play, but every other Patriot League team lost at least 8 conference games. And the Raiders are respectable 130th in net rankings, and no one else in the Patriot League is higher than 274. So with that in mind, they have the best chances of making it out of this tournament and representing their team in the Patriot League. Next, we have the Southern Conference, which the top 2 teams in the Southern Conference are Samford, UNC Greensboro, and Chattanooga. So Samford projects to be a very dangerous 13 seed in the NCAA tournament if it claims the conference's automatic bid, but any other tournament champion would most likely be number 14. So Samford is the clear favorite after winning the SoCon regular season title by 3 games over its closest competition. The Bulldogs, 26-5, they have a gaudy record, though they lost to the only 2 top 100 opponents they faced in non-league play. So who could challenge Samford? And honestly, the 4th-seeded Western Carolina team can challenge them. They've won 22 games. They beat Notre Dame, they beat Vanderbilt and McNeese State in non-league play. So they definitely have if there was a team that was going to beat Samford, that team definitely has the best chances of making it. I know they're a 4th seed, but that doesn't matter. So next we move to the Southland Conference, where we have McNeese State, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and the 3rd seed we still don't know yet because there's still another game that needs to be played. And McNeese hopes to avoiding an anxiety-ridden Selection Sunday and rest on winning in the Southland's auto bid with a 27-3 record and road wins against VCU, Michigan, UAB. They would certainly merit to look as an at-large. They look like the best team, and they look like the team that's going to end up representing the conference. But McNeese State would rather win Southland's auto bid than to remove all doubt by losing in any of these important games. Now, next we move on to the Summit League, where the top 3 teams in the Summit League are South Dakota State, Kansas City, and North Dakota. So the winner of the Summit League might need upsets in other leagues to avoid the number 16 seed in the NCAA tournament. And that's especially true if the winner is anyone besides South Dakota State. So South Dakota is the projected champs, and they're looking for its eighth Summit League tournament title since 2012. Excuse me for saying 8 straight. That's not true. And they won the regular season by 2 games. And the Jackrabbits, they're the clear favorite, though the second-seeded Kansas City, they closed the season with 6 straight wins. So they might need to watch out for that in case they go on and make a run in the NCAA tournament. Next, we have the Sun Belt Conference. The top 3 teams are Appalachian State, James Madison, and Troy. So James Madison, they validated the season opening with a win at Michigan State and finished the season with a 28-3 record. Appalachian State is 26-5. They beat Auburn in a surprise win in early December, and then they won the outright Sun Belt regular season title, sweeping a pair of games from James Madison along the way. So both of these teams are capable of advancing to the NCAA tournament, and at least one will endure agonizing, lightly disappointing wait until Selection Sunday to find out if they've done enough to earn an at-large bid. So it would be a crime if the title game doesn't put James Madison against Appalachian State. And between the quality of those two teams and the potential all or nothings that's at stake, it might be the best matchup of conference tournament play in the entire NCAA. So I'm looking forward to this matchup, and I really have no idea who's going to come out. Next, we have the West Coast Conference, and the top 3 teams are St. Mary's, Gonzaga, and San Francisco. So St. Mary's and Gonzaga are playing to improve their NCAA tournament seeding, and the Gales could be at risk of falling into the 8 or the 9 seed range if they fail to win the WCC tournament. But the Zags have a chance to climb out of that range with 2 more wins in Las Vegas. So between the quality of St. Mary's and Gonzaga and a format that grants the top 2 seeds a bye until the semifinals, the WCC title game likely will feature the Gales and the Zags. And St. Mary's and Gonzaga, they split their 2 regular season meetings. And it's, again, with that in mind, it's very difficult to decide which team is going to end up coming out in this conference because of how competitive this conference really is. So next, let's move on to some of the other games that are happening. Let's go to the ACC tournament, which is going to begin March 6th and March 10th. And it's going to be at Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. And then there's also the Big 12 tournament that's going to be coming out. That's going to be March 7th through 12th. And some of the other tournaments that are having the Big East tournament happening 8 to 11 in Connecticut. And we're going to go see UConn is obviously the favorite to come out of the Big East. And I didn't mention the other teams that are the favorite to come out. That's my bad. Texas, in the previous conference that I mentioned, in the Big 12 tournament, they had a better season. Oklahoma is going to enter Kansas City with a top seed this week. And the Sooners, after a 1-point win over the Longhorns last week, claimed the double bye alongside Texas, Kansas State, and Iowa State. And though that Red River rivalry rematch in the championship game would be fun, any of those 4 teams that I just mentioned could realistically win and make it all of the way. Now, let's keep looking at the Big Ten tournament. I already said that the Big Ten tournament, the teams in the Big East. I said Big East before. I mentioned how UConn is going to end up being the favorites in winning this seeds. UConn is just a unit, and I'm hoping that they end up winning because since I go to school in Connecticut, it's going to be a lot of fun if UConn is able to repeat again around the neighborhood. I'm sure if any of you guys are college students, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But with that out of the way, we are out of time with the second segment, so I'm going to go ahead and break into the third segment where I give a quick recap of the NBA games. We're going to shift right back into NBA basketball right after this short break.